How are we doing, diggers? Welcome to the shop, welcome to the YouTube channel, and welcome to your tripod for today. No shaky hand footage of me running off on side quests around the shop, getting overexcited. Because today we're talking about a very serious issue, very serious, record grading. And it shouldn't be so serious and it shouldn't be so stuffy. And I think the reason why is because it's so subjective. Different people have different opinions on looking at a record and saying, well, that's this grading, or that's this grading, or I would say that's this grading. Or different people have different tolerances to the condition of records. That's absolutely fine. We're all different. We're all collect in different ways. But I thought I'd do this video today about what we do here in the shop to ensure that you know what quality of records you're getting when you buy from us. Now, I think one of the things about collecting is that there are so many different types of collectors out there. Some people will only collect absolute pristine condition records, and that's cool. If you can find them, especially when you're delving into older used records, or good luck if you're into reggae, because that's not going to happen, as a reggae collector myself. Anyway, you're looking for absolutely pristine, kind of unplayed, absolutely beautiful condition records that will play like a CD and will continue to hold their value for forever. And, you know, that is brilliant. If you can do that, that's a great way of collecting. Unfortunately, personally, I feel you miss out on a lot of stuff that you can get hold of because you're so focused on that absolute pinnacle of condition. Then there's people, and we've all started out here, surely most of us have started out, where you will take a record regardless of its condition, but it's a price point thing. So when I was young, when I was a teenager and starting out, I'd buy a pound Beatles record, even if it was absolutely beat to pieces, knowing that hopefully I would upgrade it at another time, or fingers crossed, it'll play when I get it home. 9 times out of 10, to be honest, it did play, it was fine. And sometimes now, it's still in my collection at home. And then there's probably the kind of collector that I am now, and a lot of us, is that as long as it looks okay, and as long as the price point matches the condition, that's really quite crucial, then you'll go with it if it's going to play well enough. That's absolutely fine. So yeah, we're going to talk through the different grading systems. We're going to talk through how we grade here, and to be honest as well, the best way is to get out there and learn yourself and spend time in record shops, and don't be afraid to touch and get your hands on. There are not many record shops that won't let you get the record out and have a good old look at it. We are certainly not stuffy like that. We encourage you, it's a hands-on hobby, to have a good old look. Pull it out the sleeve, have a look at the sleeve, you know, give it a good look over, have a look at the disc. So this part here is really shining it towards light. Try and find some natural light, not too light. If you're outside, it can be a bit tricky because the glare can stop you seeing it. So you want to be in our shop. It's perfectly lit in here. No, you want to be somewhere where there's a bit of natural light, indoors preferably. And if you just move it around slowly into the light, and then you'll begin to see if, on this, there aren't really any at all, if there are any marks. So on this side, there's a couple of very light paper marks where it's come in and out of here. Really minuscule. You're not going to hear those. That won't affect playback, but you're looking for any large scratches or scuffs on the record. And in our shop, we've got a lovely listening area down here, and you can listen to your heart's content. Give it a try. If it's an expensive record, or you really want to hear it louder, not on the headphones, chuck it to us and we'll chuck it on our system. But crucially, we here at our shop, it's not the same everywhere, we offer full guarantee on all records. So full money back if you get it home and it doesn't play as well as you thought it might, because every single hi-fi is completely different. Our shop system is made up of DJ components, therefore it kind of cuts through most things and sounds decent, even if it's a knackered record. Whereas if you get home, it's different on your hi-fi, plays differently, and it's not what you expected, bring it back in. We'll change it, we'll sort it for you. But yeah, get hands on, that's number one. Don't be afraid to ask, don't be afraid to look, and don't be afraid to play in the shop. That's the best bit of advice. So let's have a little look at what we do here at Vinyl Shakedown Records. The kind of industry standard is the Goldmine grading system, and has been for many, many years. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's really worth going online, looking it up and reading through what that looks like. Obviously, there are no hard and fast rules. It's a bit of a sliding scale. And also, it's a bit of a bone of contention with some people and myself, and I find with other collectors, is the idea of a mint or near mint record, especially in the used world. Even a new and sealed record here that is sealed out of the factory, you don't know what's happened to that record in the factory. Yeah, it could have had a bit of dust on it, could have had an accidental scratch on it as it's come out of the machine, it could be warped. So you've got to really go with, you can't say it is absolutely mint. You have to go with presumed mint or near mint because you're not sure. So presumed mint is probably the best way, but I wouldn't get too hung up about the grading of a sealed record, a new and sealed record anyway. Then it moves into near mint as a used record, and it is so few and far between that you find something that is, you know, we're dealing with records 70 years old sometimes, that it has never been played or it's been kept in absolute optimum conditions for that whole of its lifespan. So we start with our second-hand records at excellent. It kind of gets away from that idea of near mint being absolutely perfect, because I don't think in the majority of times there is such thing as a perfect used record. We've all got some really lovely, great condition records in our collection, understandably, and there are out there near mint copies. However, we're talking about a generalization of our whole business, really. So we start at excellent. And if it is absolutely sublime, like museum standard, then we'll write it on our label. So these are our labels that we use, and we use these on the majority of the records in our shop. Sometimes over in the reduced section, like our £5 section, our £1 section, they aren't individually graded. We don't have time to do those. So that's where you'll have to have a look yourself. We always look and clean every single record in the shop. However, we've not graded those ones, so you need a quick look. Just know that if it's VG and below, it's outside, it's in the pound bin, or it's in the free bin. Anyway, back to our stickers. So here we have, these are our stickers. A little bit of writing information here for the pressing or who it is, or, you know, some distinguishing things about it. And then we're on to our gradings here. Excellent, very good plus, very good, good plus and poor. Good plus and poor don't really feature in the shop. To be honest, most of those are, like I say, in the bargain bins. And as I said before, it's a sliding scale across those. So if I tick VG plus, that could be a really high VG plus or a really low VG plus, and there's a huge difference between those. That's why it's so subjective. That's why you need to get hands on and have a look yourself to see if you want to take that record home with you. So for this video, I thought I would take, I was lucky enough to find a copy of Hard Day's Night in every single one of the categories of condition that we use. And I thought we'd use those to have a little look through and just talk about what it looks like in each of those categories. So first up, our excellent category. Again, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking this is a really nice condition copy. One thing I will say is that all of these, unfortunately, are different pressings. I didn't have exactly the same pressing and across the board. Otherwise, I'd have hundreds of copies of Hard Day's Night. So they are different pressings. What I would say is that if they were all exactly the same pressings, for each grading category you go down, you lose roughly around 30% of the value each time. Roughly. All of this is a rough guide, remember. Anyway, so back to this one. Our grading sticker is ticked because of the disc, not the sleeve, but usually you'll find they match up. This sleeve matches, it's really nice condition. The white on it is really nice and clear. This is a 76 repress, so it hasn't got a flip back sleeve. Really nice and crisp edges. You can read the spine nice and easily. You're not going to be able to see that there, are you? But yeah, let's get the disc out and have a look then. Again, the inner is really nice and original. That's cool to see. And like I say, we've got the black 2-box EMI labels. And then, as I did earlier, I'm just going to guide it to the light and have a little look and give it a spin and have a look. This hasn't got a single mark on it. It is absolutely beautiful. Okay, so I don't know if you're going to be able to see that. I'll have a look. Look, it's a really nice copy. It's got a beautiful sheen to it. Absolutely lovely condition across the board. There's nothing on the labels. I can't see any spindle marks. That's where every time you put it onto the record player, the spindle might mark the label. A lovely, lovely copy. So I've graded that excellent. It's a really nice copy. And that is going to play really beautifully, crisp, clean, precise across the board. It's very, very unlikely that there'll be any background crackle or noise in that record whatsoever. Really lovely copy, graded excellent. Then on to VG Plus. Now I would say VG Plus is probably the most common grading that you'll find in most record shops. And I've been into record shops before where they don't grade anything unless it's above VG Plus or below VG Plus, because a lot of the records in the record shop are VG Plus. Because it means it's had a bit of play, it's been used, it's been played, it might have a few light marks on it, but it will play really well. Okay, let's get this one out. Again, sleeve is really nice and crisp. It's got a few very light marks on there. Remember, this is an old record. I think this is another 1976 pressing, so it's still pretty damn old. It's got a few light creasings on there, but as a whole, that's a really lovely copy, but a little bit below the excellent. And then we're on to the disc itself. Now, the sheen is noticeably a little bit less, and it does have some spindle marks there. You can see those little wormy kind of marks around the center hole there. That definitely indicates it's had some play. And it's got quite a few paper marks on it. Paper marks are really, really light marks. Every time you get it in and out of the paper, it can very lightly mark the record. And on here, there is nothing. So VG Plus should not have any large noticeable marks or scratches on it whatsoever. And there isn't. There's just some very, very light sort of brush marks on the record. Nothing that you'd hear in playback. And that's the crucial thing. A VG Plus should play really nice and crisp. You might hear a tiny little bit in between the tracks where it's silent. You might hear the tiny little rumble, little tiny crackle, but it shouldn't be much at all. It should play back not far off the excellent. So really, really nice copy again, but has a few of those noticeable, slightly noticeable marks on. Again, really nice sheen, and I'm just having a look around it and seeing any marks. There's nothing there really, to be honest. That's a strong VG Plus. On a VG Plus, you may get the odd, very light noticeable mark on it, like a scuff or scratch sounds too harsh. Might be a very, very light mark or a scuff on it. And this shouldn't affect the playback. You shouldn't hear a tick, or you shouldn't hear any fuzz or anything like that because of it. VG Plus shouldn't have any of that. Shouldn't, like I say. So yeah, nice VG Plus copy there. And then we go down the scale, VG. Now VG is where you can pick up some really good bargains, because you might have a few more noticeable marks on the record. However, it should still have really good playback. So personally, this one, well, first of all, this one here, 1964 press, got the MTEX inner sleeve, which is really lovely. Yellow parlophone there. And again, I'm moving it into the light. Now it's got really nice sheen, but it's obviously a lot older than these ones. And you can tell that it started to dull a little bit. The label has definitely got a bit more wear on there, you can see. So it definitely had some play there. And there are quite a few medium sort of light scratches there. I don't know if you can see. Now, none of those are feelable scratches. What you can do is just have a very light sort of look there. If you can feel that scratch, you will hear it, it will click. But yeah, there's absolutely nothing that is feelable there, but it definitely looks wise, you can see. Now, these early Parlophone pressings, same with early Columbia pressings, most records from the 60s, pretty bulletproof, all right? They're very hardy. So I would say that that will play really, really nicely. Like I say, it might have a tiny bit of crackle in between the tracks, but you should be able to hear those tracks nice, loud, crisp and clear. Yeah, really nice copy to be fair, but it's graded VG because of the look of it. There are some light scratches and marks. It's hard for you to see. And you can definitely see a degradation from that excellent down to that one, can't you? But price-wise, you're going to pick up a real bargain. Let's just say, for instance, that a really excellent copy of that first press might be 30, 35 pounds, a really lovely copy. This one's just 12 quid. And it's going to play really nicely, acceptable listening. It's going to be a joyful thing to own, and it's a lovely bit of history for that money. So definitely worth looking at VG Plus, VG Records. Don't discount a VG record, especially in the rarity world. You may have records out there that there are very, very few copies of, and your only opportunity to own it might be to have a VG record. And if it plays well and it doesn't look too bad, I don't know. Up to you as a collector, remember. Up to you as a collector. Now we're into Good Plus. We're into the bargain basement territory here. As you can see, the sleeve here, it's got a lot more creases on this one, and it's on the back, you can really see a difference in the coloration of that, much dirtier. The opening edge as well, that's pretty crisp and clear. That one is a little bit tatty. So yeah, definite difference in the sleeve. It's even starting, some of the laminates starting to peel a tiny bit there. Good Plus, still got the original inner. As you can see, we've got a sticker on the label, which is going to take that grading down a little bit. And when I'm looking here, it's not too far off the VG, but it's got a lot more noticeable marks. All these records have been cleaned, by the way. So we're not looking at dirt or dust. We are looking at the final product, as it were. And it has got here quite a noticeable little mark there, which you can just about feel with your finger. If you can feel it, it's going to click. Now, it's only probably for about 3 revolutions, so you're only going to get 3 or 4 clicks, but you are going to get a click. That takes it straight for me down to a Good Plus. As soon as that playback is affected, I would say then that is into Good Plus territory. As you can see here, the label definitely had a lot of play there, as you can see. And then there's all sorts, I don't know if you can see that, but there's all sorts of light markings on there. Okay, again, nothing huge, and this will still play well. You can definitely see on the tracks there is some wear, at least some groove wear there. And like I say, quite heavy markings on some of it. And at this, if you look online, it will tell you that you can even have a skip in this. Personally, we don't sell anything with skips, or unless it slips through the net. If we played it, had a skip, it's straight outside in the free bin. We don't do skips. Completely changes the record, doesn't it, if you've got a skip? So even though this is a Good Plus and it will play with some feedback and it'll play with a bit of crackle, it shouldn't have any skips on it in my eyes. And then we're right at the bottom of the pile for our poor record. And in this case, we can see that the sleeve is a bit ripped, even compared to our Good Plus. The paw has a bit of ring wear on. You can see these heavy creases on here, which are full of muck. To be honest, the flip backs are still all glued together. They've not ripped or anything. So that is quite a decent copy for that. Still got the original sleeve, but the original sleeve is ripped at the edges. And let's have a look at the disc. I mean, the disc is pretty battered, to be honest. It has been well used and well played. Let's start on this side. Around this area here, there's some noticeable marks on them, noticeable scratches all the way through. Again, probably going to play. It will play through. I can't feel those. There's nothing too feelable, but it's not a great copy. On this side, sadly, it's even worse here. Lots of marks, lots of scratches. So a copy like this is going to be found out in our pound bin. It's not the worst I've seen, but it's certainly not great. And that's going to be a perfect little space filler for somebody until they find a nicer copy. That's what I say poor records are for. Or you could frame that. That'd be quite nice as just a sleeve. I mean, everything's still intact on the sleeve, but I would say that would be more framing or just having it for prosperity, not really for playing. Anyway, I hope that's been helpful. Like I say, lots of people asking about doing a grading video, so I thought I would, and hopefully it helps people out as you're going through it. And you know, remember, it is down to you, it is subjective, and there's no point in arguing about it. It's more about if it suits you as a collector, and if the price is right for that record, then go for it. But get out there, have a look, have a chat with record shop owners, have a chat with people about things, learn while you're on the job, while you're collecting. Yeah, thank you ever so much again for all your support and being here and watching our videos and stuff. And I will catch you very soon. Thank you guys, bye.